Hi there, and welcome to the CyberHut TV Vendor Introduction Series. My name is Simon Moffat. I'm founder and analyst at the CyberHut. In our Vendor Introduction Series, I get to interview super smart leaders and startup founders all around the globe to understand a little bit more about their mission and vision to solve some of today's exciting problems. I'm absolutely thrilled to have Ido from Token Security with me. Ido, thank you for taking some time out.
Thank you for having me, Simon. I'm
Not at
actually
all.
an avid follower of the CyberHut. Really appreciate your time and all of the effort that you do to make the identity world a better place.
Thank you
So
very
thank
much.
you.
I'll give you the cash afterwards for that. Thank you very much. Thank you very
For
much.
sure.
Well, we do try our best to try and elevate the conversation and enable the community around exciting technologies. And I do think Token is one of those. And for those who've not seen one of these little episodes before, I essentially get to ask our esteemed guest three very important questions to understand just a little bit more about Ido's mission and vision. And always start off with the same first question, really, which is just what is the problem that Token are looking to solve?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. So a bit of background. Um, I think that the world is changing by a lot, and I think that you, Simon, saw it first. But identities have taken over the connectivity of everything that we do in every website, in every platform, and of course in every backend infrastructure. You see identities controlling the space and interconnecting all of the components. So if we agree that identities are basically the interconnectivity fabric of the internet, what we identified is that all of the identities that you use as an end user are very well protected. Those are what you use to log into platforms such as Salesforce and Okta and use MFA and biometric authentication. And in the garage behind the scenes, when you consume platforms from companies, their backend identities, the ones connecting their machines and their services and their containers to their databases and CRM platforms and so on, are not so secure. To be honest, it was quite a hard thing to watch how organizations that provide worldwide services have their own backyard using archaic authentication protocols, using extremely wide privileges for their machines. And that has started to hit back on the world that it's a problem because it driven breaches like the Snowflake breach and the Microsoft breach and the Okta breach. And I think that challenge today we call non-human identity or machine identity security, and that decentralized identity fabric for machines is something that we want to secure. So that's the problem that we're helping organizations solve.
I love that. It's really simple, isn't it? It's a simple comment, difficult problem to fix, I think. And we talk about the human space, and we can learn a lot, I think, from how we've tried to manage human identities with governance, strong auth, and these things. But they're quite difficult concepts, aren't they, to sort of pass across into this different world. I think it drives me into this sort of next part, really, is why is this a problem? I'm guessing there are simply more non-human identities these days. The microservices, there's cloud, there's different ways of communicating. But I guess also it sounds like to me that those legacy, I guess, human-centric tools, they're just not built for this world, are they? The corporate directories and MFA solutions, they're not really built for the NHI workload world. Is that pretty much where we are?
I think so, but it's not like a battle of one-to-one. So we've utilized service accounts for a while, right? We've consumed API services. I think that the idea that a machine authenticates to another machine is not new, but there has been a shift over the last, I would put 3 periods of time. I think it's the last 15 years, the last 10 years, and the last 5 years. So 15 years ago, we started transitioning to the cloud, and building software in the cloud is the best thing in the world. But there, every service has its own identity mechanism, its own API key, its own service account, its own authorization model. So that's a first step. Then 10 years ago, we started doing it very rapidly. We started using Terraform, infrastructure as code, technologies, microservices to build software much more rapidly, to deploy features quicker. And so you had like a linear, now you have maybe like a more of an exponential curve. And that microservice architecture multiplied the problem, especially in infrastructure, by a lot. So now you have a huge amount of API keys, a huge amount of credentials, a huge amount of secrets, and of different entitlements that each one of them doesn't make a lot of sense when it's compared to the others. So you need to control a new language. And now in the last 5 years, now we're really like doubling down on AI. And AI only lives in the cloud. It's independent software making decisions to access different resources in different times. And those are AI agents that are working on top of workloads. So if we say that between 10 to 15 years ago we didn't control workloads, now those workloads are acting very, very differently. So now you have like a power multiple that brings this boiling pot that has been boiling for about 15 years to a really like the boiling temperature where it starts to explode. And that's why in the last 5 years you've seen a lot of attention to machine identity and non-human identity, but still very few solutions.
I think it's a real it's quite terrifying, the sort of scale and size of the problem. I don't just mean the sort of volume of non-human identities, which seems to proliferate both in the types and the numbers themselves, but I think also is what's terrifying a little bit is just the complexity of things like AI in general. The opportunities are huge, the benefits are huge, but equally protecting, it's not just like having an enforcement point and a protection. It's a much bigger, broader, more complex beast. And you're talking about protection of the data, protection of the inter-workload communications, there's privacy, there's leakage. The sort of impact is huge if you get this stuff wrong. So I do agree. I think it's a bigger problem statement, lots of moving parts, and a great opportunity if you get it right, I think, as well. So that sort of brings us to the sort of last question, really, is why are token best placed? What is your sort of secret sauce? What's your methodology and platform that can help solve some of these problems?
So I always try to give a second of cliche. Of course, token is best place to solve it because of its people. But if we focus on the product and the features, because everybody wants to hear about that. I think that we identified a shift that our customers are experiencing, but it came a lot from like our internal knowledge, experience, and understanding. We understand that security is not only in the responsibility of the security organization. Eventually, a lot of the phenomena, a lot of the challenges that are created from the need to move fast and the need to work quickly while keeping a security guardrail. So if we said that in modern world, like in traditional world, we had network controls, modern world, we have identity controls. Now those identity controls need a new operational language. The operational language is that one spoken between security, infrastructure, data engineering, developers, SRE, and more. Token is the place of conversation between the security organization and, let's call it, the engineering organization, where we help bridge the gap of the operational challenge around identities. So a lot of vendors give you the list of machine identities and all of the problems that you have around them. We focus on how operationally could you move forward. We invest in two main secret weapons that we have. So context around an identity that helps teams work together is, first of all, identifying the team. It's what we call ownership, creating the working group around machine identities, identifying the right engineer and the right person that is responsible for the workload and the one that is managing the database, and bringing them all together. So first of all, ownership. Second part is the usage context. Eventually, a machine identity or non-human identity is something that runs independently. It's in very, very high volume, it's very high pace, and it holds a business critical process. We identified that a lot of the challenges of security teams to solve security issues around non-human identities was driven from the fact that they don't know if something will break. They don't know if they understand the usage well enough, and they have the evidence to support the fact that I want to rotate a key and I can make sure and display the evidence that nothing is going to break. Collecting the data, analyzing it, and putting it in a smart way for me to communicate is a lot of what operationally is challenging for security teams. So, though we work on the same inventory, we really invest in context and attribution of both the people and the machines that are using that machine identity.
I love that. I love the thing there, the operational language. I think that's a really subtly powerful thing. There's so many different stakeholders, I think, interested in this world. You mentioned things like dev and engineering, SRE, SecOps, security. Different people that they want to have. They've got different incentives to make this work, and having that language is or linking them together is, I think, that's really, really powerful there, and it's great. I think it sounds like you've got a really good end-to-end grasp of the problem. I think it's definitely more than just managing credentials and managing the rotation of things. It is more broader end-to-end problem, which I think is being solved there, which I think is absolutely super. And I just see this getting bigger and bigger. I don't see it ending soon. It's not a small commodity thing. I just see AI impacting this hugely as well, and we're doing a bit of research at the minute on AI. The more you pull that thread, it just gets bigger and bigger. Yeah, thanks for taking a bit of time out there, Ado. It sounds like you've got a really good grasp of where this is heading. So thank you for explaining your plan and your mission. Good luck with that, and thank you for everyone for listening and tuning in. This has been another episode in our vendor introduction series, brought to you by the Cyber Hut, and we will see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you so much.